Hello BookTube, I'm Jonathan and welcome to Words in Time. Now the premise for today's video is, if I had my memory wiped and I had to pick 10 sci-fi books to read purely based off the title, I'm not allowed to look at the cover and I'm not allowed to read the description, which 10 sci-fi books would I pick to read? Let's find out. First up, we have Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? So this is quite a humorous title. It poses a question, there's a bit of a mystery, a little clickbaity perhaps, and it combines something kind of mundane, the idea of counting sheep to go to sleep or dreaming of sleep, with a pretty cool sci-fi concept, and that is androids. And it really grabbed my attention because I think it gets to the heart of what this story is trying to explore, and that is, if at all, how does one define existence for androids? So that's a really interesting premise to me. I haven't actually read the book. I've watched Blade Runner and I read Ubik last year, and that was one of my favorite reads of 2021. So I'm excited to read more Philip K. Dick, especially because of this catchy title, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Up next, we have The Star's My Destination. So I really like this because it's very simple, but it kind of evokes a sense of wonder. Real classic sci-fi. The star's my destination. How am I gonna get there? What's gonna happen when I get there? Why do I want to travel to these stars? And this is a book I have actually read by Alfred Bester and I enjoyed quite a lot, especially the concepts of traveling, the different forms of travel, such as jaunting, which is kind of a form of teleportation. So if I hadn't read this one before, I think that title would really capture my attention. The Star's My Destination. Moving on, we have The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So this is another one that I think is somewhat humorous, and with the word galaxy, it is placing us in a space setting. It's clearly a sci-fi story, and The Hitchhiker's Guide, well, if we're going to be hitchhiking around, it sounds like we're going to be going on quite the adventure. Now, I haven't actually read this one. This is probably near the top of my list of shame for pretty well-known sci-fi books that I haven't got around to yet. I did watch the film a while back, and the humor was a little bit hit or miss for me. I know I shouldn't judge the book by that. So let me know if you've read the book, whether it's worth my time. I'm definitely going to get around to it eventually, but how high should I prioritize it on my TBR? Because the title's pretty good. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Up next, we have Hyperion, and it's easy to get hyped for this one. Hype is in the title, and this one kind of draws on a couple of different cultural influences. We have Hyperion from the Greek myth of Titan, and it's also a John Keats poem, which I wouldn't know this if I'd had my memory wiped, but this story and series is a bit of a love letter to John Keats. But it does kind of paint it's short and simple, one word, the shortest title that I included on this list. But it's just a great name for a planet or a spaceship. It's intriguing. It's just a cool word to say, Hyperion. I'm getting hyped just talking about it. That's why it made the list, Hyperion. Our next title is We Are Legion, We Are Bob. Now, for me, this is probably one of the best sci-fi titles I've ever read, and also possibly one of the worst. It is kind of silly, but I think that's why it's a good one, because it does evoke a bit of a reaction. It makes you wonder, who is this Legion? You're all Bob, apparently. And I have read this one, and it's a pretty interesting story, first-person POV, and we do have lots of different characters that, I won't explain it, but perhaps a little bit similar. There's a reason why we are all Bob in the title, and so I think that mystery, I think that kind of tongue-in-cheek title would kind of grab my interest, make me giggle a little bit, and want to read We Are Legion, We Are Bob. Up next, we have The Left Hand of Darkness. So immediately, this kind of evokes images of yin and yang. Perhaps we have darkness on one side, light on the other, and that's a classic struggle between those two. Or perhaps, they're both dark. We got the left hand doing darkness, we got the right hand doing horror. Who knows what's going on, but it's kind of poetic, it's evocative, it's emotional, and I have actually read this book and I was a little bit mixed on it. I think it explored some interesting themes and I feel like it was probably definitely ahead of its time, although I didn't quite connect to the characters and story as much as I had hoped. But with my memory wiped, I would definitely pick it up for its cool title, The Left Hand of Darkness. Next, we have The First 15 Lives of Harry August. So this is another one that is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but it definitely creates a mystery. Why is this Harry August living so many lives? Is he dying over and over again and being brought back to life? Is he experiencing some kind of time loop, which is a cool sci-fi concept? And what's so significant about the first 15? Is the 15th the last one? Is everything hunky-dory after life 15? I definitely want to read this and find out. This is a book I barely know anything about. I don't think I've encountered anyone talking about this online. I just came across the title and thought it sounded really cool. So please let me know if you've read this one. Definitely give me some info in the comments because I'm intrigued by the title, The First 15 Lives of Harry August. With our third last title, we have A Memory Called Empire. So I like this one because it kind of rolls off the tongue. It's rather poetic, and I think there's something interesting going on there where we have memory, and memory is an interesting concept to me. I love the way memory can be explored in sci-fi stories, the way memories can be real or not real or subjective, and how different technologies and experiences can affect memory. But usually memories are small things, or they're kind of ethereal, kind of things that you're trying to grab from over here, something that happened a long time ago. Not something as large as an empire. Usually they're much more small and personal. So why is this empire a memory for whichever character or person or culture this is referring to? It really grabbed my interest. I'm kind of going off a whole bunch of crazy theories just based on the title, and this is one I have read. I have read the Takes Kalan Ideology, definitely enjoyed it, and explore some really rich themes. So I recommend picking it up for the book itself, and also for the title, A Memory Called Empire. For our penultimate title, we have To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. So I love the alliteration in this one. It's kind of fun to say, to sleep in a sea of stars. And you could go one of two ways with this one. The two kind of images that came to mind is one that's really peaceful and beautiful. Sleeping in this sea of stars, it creates this really beautiful image of the galaxy, a wonderful kind of sci-fi experience. Or it could be a little bit more ominous, a little bit more dangerous. Space, it can be a cold, dark, dangerous place. And the sleep, that could be a bit more of a permanent sleep, the big sleep. So the stakes could be pretty high in this one. I haven't read this book. I've seen a bit of a talk about it online. It seems like very mixed reactions. I've seen some people love it, seen some people say it didn't work for them at all. So definitely let me know if you've read the book. I'm intrigued because of the cool title, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. And for our final title on the list, we have The Quantum Magician. So this combines two things that I think are pretty cool. Magic and magicians, they're always intriguing to me. They always have the potential to be pretty entertaining characters, and I'm also rather intrigued by quantum physics. So I like the combination of these two. It reminds me a little bit of the great Arthur C. Clarke quote that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So is this character really a magician, or are they doing some crazy things with quantum physics? I haven't read this one, but I put it pretty high up on my TBR. I want to read it fairly soon just because of the title. So let me know if you've read it. I think it's a high story, which makes it sound even better. The Quantum Magician, I'm going to read it. Awesome title. So those are my top 10 sci-fi book titles. I want to hear some of your favorites, and I would especially like to hear if you have ever picked up a book purely based on the title alone, knowing nothing else about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and you can find more sci-fi content over here.